Hello, and welcome to yet another episode from Mother Bitcoin. Yes, let's get back to the basics of Mother Bitcoin. Today, the Bitcoin price takes a little dip to roughly 6,700 US dollars. Now, please understand one thing about BTC. That its fall to $6,700 is, it's actually quite telling that the world's economy has taken a shit, of course, during this false pandemic. And during this time, you see Bitcoin going down, not going under 5,000 something. Now, if we got to the very lowest possible number, well, it's just the hodlers of last resort, which means the people who mostly believe in Bitcoin, who firmly believe in Bitcoin. If we get to that point, hopefully you can hear me. I'm wearing headphones. I don't know if this is picking up my voice okay. There's some wind out here. Looks like we're going to have a second rain day in the last 2 months. Some beautiful French architecture there. I was just having a coffee in a French cafe where there's a guy in there who's about fucking 65 with an 11-year-old girl. Kind of crazy how this country does that. But moving on back to Bitcoin, I'll say that since the planned pandemic, Bitcoin has gone down, not very much actually. And if it comes down to the very bottom of the people, which that means is the very bottom Bitcoin can hit is to a point where the people who believe in it most, who won't sell it regardless of its price, will affix Bitcoin at a price that my guess roughly of 5,000 US dollars. I honestly don't think it can go lower than that at this point in history. But let's chop off 1/5 of that, and let's say the lowest it could get to. Let's say the lowest it can get to is 4,000. So we got Bitcoin. Let's say it hits 4,000. Great, an excellent buy time. Regardless of what happens and how things pan out here in this global scam, if you are able to attain Bitcoin at 4,000 or 5,000, and it's going to hit roughly 100,000 bare minimum, most conservative estimates by the end of 2021. Well, it's not a bad investment. I could buy real estate here, but the real estate's not going to perform like Bitcoin performs. It's not going to perform like Bitcoin performs. It's just not. And that's what stops me from buying real estate here. I can price it. Obviously, I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. And if I did go somewhere, I would be back here at a certain point because of the freedom it affords that no other country that I can think of offhand. There may be some South American countries that afford this kind of freedom, but those South American countries are not based in Buddhism, which this is. This is the center of Buddhism, and where much of it was, well, you could say India, but a lot of the Indians, actually, the DNA is also here. And they've brought that here. So, getting back to the point, yeah, Bitcoin, there's going to be a halvening. If you don't know what that is, please check some of my other videos to know what the halvening is, where the daily supply pressure of Bitcoin gets cut into half, to 50% of its current daily supply, which is 1,800 coins per day. There are 1,800 Bitcoins that have been sold over the last 4 years, every day, newly minted. When this first began 4 years ago, I'm going to give you a ballpark estimate of what Bitcoin's value was. It was roughly 500 US dollars, okay? Roughly $500. Since that time, since 4 years ago, it's gone from 500 US dollars when it began selling 1,800 a day. And now here we are, almost 4 years later. It's going to get cut in half again. Except the supply is going to, instead of 1,800 Bitcoins per day, sale pressure, you've got 900 only. Yet the information age is what you're living in. The demand for Bitcoin has risen. And because of this current world false pandemic, it's the demand for Bitcoin is growing and will be growing exponentially. Yes, there's some manipulation. There is some manipulation, but there's manipulation in every market. However, Bitcoin can only be manipulated to a certain degree because we can see where it all is, yeah? And because we have a finite supply, can be no more printed than it's set in the code, so it's finite, like your time. And there's a competition to obtain each one, unlike any sort of currency that we can speak about, or even gold, right? So with the combination of what I just mentioned above, anyone who understands economics, and I have spoke with many people around the world who had gone to, colleges in Milano and studied economics, and their lips get shaky when you tell them the truth about. I had this guy the other day. He's telling me about how the Federal Reserve is not private. I don't even want to get into this. I don't want to get into too deep. See, at Mother Bitcoin here, I try to keep things simple for any viewers. If you guys want to get more technical about the halvening and what that is and why Bitcoin is obviously the default standard, is obviously going to be the default standard of currency, the bedrock or benchmark of how we value everything. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. You can, anyone who's watching this, it's funny because I made a video recently. I played guitar in it. It was a song about a 4-year-old relative of mine who on his birthday, his dad asked him, he said, hey, you can write anything on your cake that you would like to say to everyone. And he said, really? I can write anything at all on my birthday cake? And his dad said, yep. Never forget this. And he looked up at him, just the sweetest guy in the world, and still is. And he said, I wanted to say, I love everyone. And it was such a beautiful statement, and it stuck in my mind for many years. So I played this song just a few days ago in YouTube. I put it up into YouTube. It's called He Said Something Beautiful. And the chorus is I love everyone. That's the chorus of the song. Do you know I got a dislike? For the very few people that watch my videos, they gave me a dislike. Now, it's just telling, isn't it? For the amount of haters, I'll use a millennial word, haters, the haters that hate, man. There are so many, and some of them in my extended family, just people who fucking hate. They just hate you for what you are, because if you're doing it right, then that means possibly that they are doing it wrong. So they can't possibly embrace what I do or like anything about me. So I know there are people, unfortunately, that are miserable with themselves, within themselves. They dislike and hate themselves. So that dislike on a song like He Said Something Beautiful is from a miserable person. And I know that there are some miserable losers that watch this channel and they love to hate, right? And me in particular. And so I guess it's just the sign of a growing channel, perhaps. And perhaps not, because I couldn't care less. I have nothing to prove to anybody as far as how my life has gone. I don't judge anyone else and how their lives have gone. I don't at all. But you will find out over time there are a lot of people who maybe they wish they were you in some sycophantic way. Maybe it's a woman, that wishes she had a penis. There's a lot of ugly people out there. I have a half cousin, apparently, I don't even know if it's by blood, I hope not, who's just a disgusting hater, just so gross. It's really toxic, and therein lies the reason why we find ourselves in this situation we're in now. This pandemic, this false flag, calling it a pandemic. And I've given many examples in here in Mother Bitcoin of why it's obviously false. It can't not be false, guys. It cannot not be. So I know that people are going, it's the virus and gets you. Oh my God, the virus is saying it's not real. You guys are sheep. You're fucking minions. Grow out of it. Wake up. It's just like 9/11. Years will go by and you'll go, oh, maybe it wasn't Osama bin Laden.
maybe that was just a story to take away our freedoms and control us. Let's have more McDonald's and Domino's pizza.
Yeah, you fucking inbreds. Yeah, so those fucks, those F-bombs as they say that I drop, that's to the haters. You know who you are. Then there's other family members I have who are fantastic. I love them. I'm not a barometer for one to judge his or her life against, because I know that I am sometimes by default by certain people. That's too bad for you, because you're going to lose that one, and you know that instinctively. So anyway, looks like it's going to rain tonight. I wanted to mention the Bitcoin halving. If anyone wants to make money, think about Bitcoin. And I can throw in Chainlink. I'm a fan of Chainlink, heavily invested in by Uncle Google. That's the only coin's gone up 7% today, went up 20% the other day. I've been recommending Chainlink now for many months. It's still a good buy time in my opinion. But someone who's new to the cryptocurrency space and doesn't know very much, just try to attain one Bitcoin and try to hold it through this, this next 9/11, this deep state grand slam that they've swung and hit. And now, without a doubt, with absolutely no way to dispel what I'm about to say, you know what's next. Vaccines, 预防针你一定会打预防针了. That's what's coming next. You will take your vaccine, and you will take it, and you will enjoy it. I don't recommend you taking your vaccine. It could have foreign substances in it. They can hurt you, make you sick, make you not be able to reproduce. There's that possibility. So keep that in mind when you're looking at the masses, the lemmings, as Dan will put in my comments below. The lemmings. There are lemmings, they're gonna rush to the edge of the cliff. They're gonna fall off the cliff just like the lemmings in front of them into a fucking needle in the name of vaccinations, in the name of quelling this man-made planned pandemic. I've proven it to you guys that it's fake. You could say, yes, it is a real virus. Yeah, there are real viruses every year. They've also skewed the numbers, as you've heard. Don't try to protect the narrative. Look through the narrative and do your own research and due diligence, and look for reasons that perhaps you're being misled. And even more, they took away habeas corpus. Your rights for search and seizure were taken straight away from you after 9/11. Okay? So that's just what this is. It's more of that raping of your freedoms. They want to fucking control you. Can you not instinctively feel that? I think at some point you'll be able to feel that. And there will be a kickback. Be on the right side of history. Even the hating dullards that are listening to this and seething and wishing they had a white cock. You don't. You don't. But you can get one paid for. You could commit a crime right now in the United States and go to prison, and then the taxpayer has to pay for that operation called an addictomy. Yeah, that's when a woman puts a dick on herself. It's a very upper crust, affluent operation, the addictomy. Oh yes. Yes, you are so wonderful if you can just jail yourself and have the taxpayers pay for your sex change. This is true. This is true. Research it. You think, that's not true. You can't have the taxpayers pay for your sex change when you're in prison. Yes, you can. So who's running that country we call the land of the free, home of the brave? Land of the free? Whoever told you that is your enemy. As famously spoken by Zach De La Rocha, sung by Zach De La Rocha of 13 High. I'm sorry, of fucking 13 High. Of, what was it? Rage Against the Machine. Yeah. 13 High was just a cheap, watered-down version of Rage Against the Machine, actually. But it was cool. It was very cute. Okay. I'm riding off on my daily scants of roughly, I'll probably ride for, 6 hours. I'm on a light bike. I'm not packing anything. You're seeing some of Cambodia. I'm looking for a piece of land a mile wide. Then I'm gonna arm myself to the fucking teeth. Oh yeah. Arm myself to the teeth and raise my temple. There's gonna be haters that see it. I can't be too loud. I'm in my apartment. Yeah. Go ahead. Take it. Take that shaft. You Americans have been doing well. Loosen up your ass pipe. There you go. There. Breathe deep. Breathe deep. God's chosen people are behind you. That we're in this together. They can slowly rub your shaft as they press it in deeper. It's okay. Breathe. Breathe. There you go. Just a little bit more of your freedoms. Exalted. Just come on. Just breathe deep and take it to the balls. Just take it to the balls.